While America argues about who to blame, China just builds. Bridges rise, trains glide, and a century quietly changes hands. This isn't about politics, it's about power made of concrete and code. Stay till the end, because what you're about to see isn't theory, it's your future. Welcome to the progressive wave. Truth, resistance, no compromise. If you believe power should serve people, not profit, hit subscribe and join the movement. I remember standing in Shanghai at dusk, the air electric, the streets alive with motion. The subway doors closed with a soft sigh, trains humming beneath towers of glass. Around me, everything worked, clean, fast, synchronized. While New York gasped under the weight of its own delay, buses wheezing, ceilings leaking, promises postponed, Shanghai's heartbeat never missed a beat. America, once the builder, now waits in line. Out in China's countryside, where mountains roll like green waves, the miracles continue. Even in provinces once called poor, there are highways so new they still gleam, bridges taller than dreams, and airports where there used to be fields. How does a country with less wealth outbuild the richest nation on earth? It's simple. China builds. America debates. China is what happens when engineers run a country like a factory. Since the 1980s, its leaders have been engineers, not lawyers. They see problems as systems to fix, not arguments to win. They think in structures, not slogans. When the West was drafting speeches, China was drafting blueprints. To Beijing, the economy isn't politics, it's plumbing. Pressure, flow, valves, and when a pipe clogs, they don't argue about it, they rebuild it. That's how a nation once scraping by became the workshop of the world. Electric vehicles, solar panels, high-speed rail, robotics. China did invent all of them, but it perfected them. Factories learned faster than universities. Workers became engineers. Entrepreneurs battled like warriors in 100 brutal markets until only the toughest survived. They called it socialism with Chinese characteristics, but it was really capitalism with an industrial soul. The state wins, the consumer wins, and the companies bleed to make it happen. But what's the price of progress when everything, including people, is treated like machinery? China tried to engineer families like it engineered bridges, and paid the price. The one-child policy, born from logic and enforced with brutality, turned birth into bureaucracy and love into quotas. It reduced women to statistics and villages to silence. The future itself shrank. Now the same engineers who once sterilized a generation are trying to coax new life into a society that's aging faster than it's growing. It turns out it's easier to build bridges than babies. Meanwhile, America got drunk on nostalgia, remembering greatness while outsourcing the ability to make it real. We traded assembly lines for headlines. Our caution became a cage, rules so thick we can't lay a single brick. The same nation that once built the Hoover Dam now struggles to fix a subway. Bureaucracy became our religion. Lawyers replaced builders as our high priests. We have freedom of speech, but we can't fix the pipes. China sees that weakness and waits. It knows the game goes to whoever outlasts the other. America burns energy on culture wars while China converts coal into solar dominance. The US still has more wealth, more creativity, more spirit, but no system to turn ideas into steel. And in this world, ideas without infrastructure are just ghosts of what could have been. When I was in Guizhou, one of China's poorest provinces, I saw 11 airports, 50 of the world's tallest bridges, and roads smoother than California's best. It didn't make sense until I realized it wasn't about wealth, it was about will. China doesn't wait for permission. It doesn't debate for decades. It builds first, argues later. And that, for better or worse, is how empires rise. But let's be clear, an engineering state is not a utopia. It's efficient, yes, but cold. It builds cities faster than it builds trust. It raises towers while silencing poets. It can control the flow of steel, but not the flow of thought. Many of its brightest minds dream of leaving, of freedom, not factories. They buy homes in Vancouver, send their children to schools in New York, or flee through the Darien Gap to reach Texas. Because even when your city shines, a golden cage is still a cage. And yet, despite all its cracks, the Chinese system delivers. Power, jobs, growth. People can walk through their cities and feel progress under their feet. In America, we scroll through nostalgia and wonder where the future went. The contrast is humiliating, not because China is perfect, but because it's functional. It delivers. So what now? America must remember how to make things again. Not just talk about greatness, but build it. Rebuild factories, rebuild confidence, rebuild purpose. Stop deporting the very scientists who could save us. Stop cutting funding for research and calling it fiscal responsibility. Civilization is a maintenance job, done quietly every day by people who refuse decay. And this century won't belong to whoever shouts the loudest. It'll belong to whoever keeps the lights on longest. China believes it can just wait for the West to collapse under its own confusion. Maybe it's right, if we let it be. But history isn't written by who waits. It's written by who builds. So, what will it be? A future outsourced or a rebirth engineered? Tell me in the comments, do you think America can still build? Would you trade freedom for functionality? Type build or be beaten if you refuse decline. Share this if you believe competence is rebellion, because love of country isn't nostalgia, it's maintenance. And if we don't start rebuilding what matters, someone else already has.